Hey everyone, I hope you are well. This is my latest update video for you, and today I want to remind you that this morning, I'm recording this Sunday afternoon, this morning we actually launched our week of prayer together. It's starting tomorrow, that's Monday, and I really just want to encourage you and urge you to participate in this week of prayer together as a church family. Why are weeks of prayer so important? One of the reasons why weeks of prayer are so important is that they're a brilliant reminder to you and I that what our communities that we all live in need most is God's unending power at work, and not the kind of feeble amount of power that we might be able to muster on a good day. They remind us of our weakness, but God's just incredible power. And so I want to invite you to join with me and join with others as we remind ourselves of our own weakness, but we look to God in His strength for His answers and His solutions, that He might be glorified here on the East Coast. The second reason why weeks of prayer are so important is that they also help us to learn what it means to put the big rocks, the important things in life, in the bucket of our diary and our lives first. And I want to suggest to you that prayer is always one of the big rocks that needs to go into the bucket of our lives. Prayer is the way that we communicate and commune with God. Prayer is the way that we speak to God about the things that matter to us. But more than that, prayer is one of the ways by which we see God's rule, God's ways established amongst us and in the communities that we live in. That's why when Jesus was teaching his disciples how to pray, he said, when you pray, pray like this: your kingdom come, your will be done. That's a recognition that what we need in our lives personally, but also in the communities that we live in, is the rule of King Jesus and his kingdom ways breaking out amongst us. And so over the course of this week, as we pray together, we're going to be praying for God's kingdom to come and his will to be done individually in our lives, amongst us as a church family, and also in the communities that we live in. A third reason why prayer is so important is that prayer is one of the works, and I mean that in a good way, one of the works of the church. That it's interesting when the Spirit falls upon the church on the day of Pentecost, upon those early scared, fragile disciples that we read about in Acts 2, when the Spirit comes upon them and then they preach the gospel and 3,000 people are gathered. That massive crowd, we read in Acts 2:42 that one of the things that they commit themselves to, one of the works of the Spirit amongst them, is that they become a people who are devoted to prayer. And friends, we want to learn what it means for us as a church to be devoted to prayer. And one of the ways that we can do that is by setting aside weeks of prayer like this, where we can learn together, what does it mean to be people of prayer? And the final reason why I think this forthcoming week of prayer is so important is that God's given us a great mission, and we want to be turning to him and asking for his help in so many areas of that mission. We have so many gaps, so many things where we need God's help, and we want to pray much about them. And so really, I'd love to invite you to join with us in this week of prayer. Clear the diary a bit, make space that you might give yourselves to prayer. There are at least 3 different ways that you can participate in this week of prayer. The first is by coming to the 3 prayer gatherings that we're going to be having through the week. The first one's on Monday evening at 7:30 p.m. Then we've got one at 6 a.m. on Wednesday morning. And then we've got the final one at 8:30 a.m. on Saturday morning. The one on Wednesday is going to be on Zoom, but the other two are going to be in person at the King's Centre. I'd love to invite you to come and join that. The second way is by grabbing this book that you should have been able to pick up this morning. If you didn't manage to get one, then can I urge you to contact Simon in the office at hello@wearekingsgate.org, and he'll be able to send you a PDF version of it. And each day there's a little bit of blurb and some prayer points for you to pray through. The final way that I'd love to invite you to use this week of prayer is to gather in small groups. It might be as a family that you take each evening to pray together as a family about these things. It might be in your running partners that you choose to meet up, or Zoom, or even just do a phone call where you're praying about these things. It might just be some friends in the church that you say, hey, over this week, we're going to just take half an hour each evening. We're going to phone one another and we're going to pray about these things together. Let's fill this coming week with loads and loads of prayer together. If you want any more information, contact Simon in the office and he can fill you in on all the details. God bless you all. Have a great week of prayer together.